Hello and welcome to our program, Atheism, A Worldview. I'm Jon Nelson, speaking for Atheists United in Los Angeles, and it is my great pleasure at this time to introduce you to Lavanam, who is head of the Atheist Centre in Vijayawada, India, as well as being a catalyst for atheist organizations worldwide. Welcome, Lavanam. It's always a pleasure to see you in person.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to be here with all of you. In fact, this is my 9th visit to United States. And then whenever I come to United States, I visit California. I am visiting the Atheists United, and it is a great pleasure to meet not only all of you, but to meet others through TV and radio programs which you organize for me. So thank you very much.
Good. We appreciate very much your efforts in facilitating contacts among atheist organizations worldwide, and also as serving as sort of a goodwill ambassador for the free thought movement.
Thank you.
What we'd like to do is, I want to ask you a series of questions. Well, you travel extensively.
Yeah.
Okay. We're interested in hearing about your travels and also about your center in India and how that operates. So I guess the question is, where do we start? Since you have your finger on most of the atheist organizations across the world, I think that would be a good place to start. I'd like to start off by asking a very broad, general question. What do you see as the global future for atheism? In other words, where do we stand now and what do we have to do in the future?
I see a great and bright future for atheism, because the 21st century is emerging as a century with all challenges, and we are traveling to moon, and we are exploring Venus and Mars, and so in this age of even space travel, to keep human beings as slaves of the steel boxes of religion is something would be unacceptable to humanity. So religions are denominational and they are keeping them in their own steel boxes. So atheism releases them from those slavery and then liberates them to be human. So when atheism liberates them to be human, now we have great future for atheism, and then future belongs to atheism. And religion had some past, but definitely it has no future. Atheism was a little bit negative in the past because it had to fight with religion, because religion's intolerance and hatred towards atheism made atheists a little bit negative. But now, when we have accepted ourselves, we are standing on our own feet, we are keeping our head high. So now it is time for us to look forward and then perform the duty which is assigned to us by humanity and by history and by civilization. So I see atheism has got a great future in rehumanizing the dehumanized human being, because religion has dehumanized the human being into a religious, fundamentalist, denominational sectarianism. So to take human beings out of that and make them stand on their feet as humans, that is the role atheists are charged with, and we have to perform it, and that is the future. So future is bright for us.
That's a very positive and very encouraging outlook on your part. I was glad to hear it put that way. How did you become an atheist yourself? Can you tell us a little about your background?
Yeah, you see, in one way I'm a born atheist, because my father Gora and my mother Saraswati, they took to atheism in 1928 itself. And my father was a teacher of biological sciences, and then his scientific knowledge made him to not accept anything just as a belief and as a superstitious belief. So he wanted to verify everything, and he wanted to discuss and reason everything. In that one, he was born into the Hindu cultural milieu. In those days, the Brahmins were considered to be the high caste, still they are considered to be the high caste. So my father was born into the Brahmin community. Then once he became an atheist, he renounced not only his religion, but even his caste, and he declared he was only a human being. So he was outcast, he was sent out of the family. So I was born in 1930 when my father became an atheist, so I'm a born atheist in one way. And then my father and mother, they continued to be atheists till my father died in 1975, and my mother still is alive, she's 82, and she continues to be an atheist. She addresses the atheist gatherings. So we are 9 children to my parents, and all are atheists. All our spouses are atheists, all our children are atheists. So we are a great family and a great community of atheists. So I have been an atheist since my birth. And my name Lavanam also has something to do with atheism, because once my father, he became an atheist, he didn't want to name his son with traditional names. Generally, traditional names are God's names. So Lavanam means salt. My father was in National Liberation Movement of India under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. So in 1930, Mahatma Gandhi broke the salt tax law imposed by the then British government. And then because he broke the salt tax law, I was born. Lavanam means salt in Indian languages, the common salt which we eat. So there is only one person by name Lavanam, and that's me. So my father gave me this very unusual name. Lavanam means salt. So I'm a born atheist. I am glad I'm a born atheist, and I'm glad now I'm a convinced atheist.
Very good. We're glad that you are too. You've been in the United States before. Now, when you travel from country to country abroad in Europe, you're received as a dignitary in most of the countries that you go to. But that doesn't happen here. Why do you think that is? How are the attitudes different towards atheism and towards atheists in this country as compared to other countries that you've been in?
See, in other countries, most of the countries, they still have religion as their state religion. And the United States doesn't have state religion. Not only that, by constitution, the religion and state is completely separated. But the tragedy has been here, a section of the people think without religion there is no life.
Right.
Without God there is no life. And then they hold this way in the United States. Nowhere else in the world you find on currency that in God we trust. So they don't trust in themselves. They don't trust in the currency they made. They don't trust in their own families. They don't trust in their being. In God we trust, that is inscribed on money.
That's right.
So this is something which is unusual. So I am not very much worried how I am received here, but I am very much worried in one way is the religious fundamentalists in the United States, they vomit more hatred towards atheists than anywhere else in the world, with the only exception of Islamic countries. I can understand Islamic countries are more closer countries, so they can exhibit some hatred towards others. They were not exposed so much to the outside world and civilization and science and technology, whereas a country like United States, which is the leader of the technology, it was the first man on the moon, was an American. So, but still they think, I think there are some people in the United States still who think the earth is flat. So in such a situation, so United States, everything is possible. Everything is possible here.
Right.
So we are atheists are also here, and the fundamentalists are also there. And I think one way, there is a kind of a little bit of seesaw battle going on. With all that, there is a peaceful competition between the atheists and the religious people that who will hold the future. And definitely, the future is swinging towards atheists and atheism that I see even in the United States.
Good. Well, certainly we have to lead by example, don't we? We have to show by our own good example just what we think humanity should stand for and how we can better the human condition.
Robert Ingersoll in the last century, a great example to the world. And Robert Ingersoll was a great human being.
That's right.
And he fought on the side of Abraham Lincoln for the liberation of people from hatred and slavery. So Robert Ingersoll is a great example.
The problem is that with Robert J. Ingersoll is that although he was one of the best-known Americans of his time, he died in 1899. You never hear about him in history courses today, so that's a problem that we face too. I wanted to ask you, the other night we had a social gathering, and you were talking about the differences in the objectives that the atheists in America have as compared to the objectives that atheists have in other countries. Could you expand on that a little bit for us, please?
You see, in other countries, what happened was, they are all small countries, number one. And then secondly, the whole Western society is basically Christian. So atheists here are basically anti-Christian. But I want to draw your attention to countries like India, where India, 82% of the population is Hindu. But still, we have the second largest Muslim population in the world. 140 million Muslims are in Indonesia, and 120 million Muslims are in India. So the Muslims in India are more than the population of Pakistan, more than the population of Bangladesh. So that's why we have, though predominantly India is a Hindu country, but still we have the second largest Muslim population in India. And we have Christians, a large number of Christians are there, all denominations. And in fact, when the British people were, British kings and queens were ruling as royalty, then they favored Christianity. Then we have Zoroastrianism, which was kicked out of Persia, Iran. They took shelter in India. So Zoroastrians we have in India. Then Jews came to India in the early periods. And then we have Buddhism that started in India. Jainism is a part of Indian culture. Then we have Shintoism. The Japanese merchants not only brought silks with them to sell in India, when they settled down in India, they practiced their Shinto religion. Then the Chinese merchants, when they came to do trade with India, they brought Taoism with them. So in India, we have every religion in the world. So to be an atheist in India, it is not just anti-Hindu or anti-Christian or anti-Muslim or anti-anything. We are anti-religious approach to life. When we are anti-religious approach to life, then we have a holistic attitude towards life. Whereas here, in countries like United States, you are opposing only one religion, that is Christianity. In India, we are opposing all religions. In opposing all religions, we are pointing out to that when there are no religions, the basic identity is a human identity. So that way, the difference between, particularly I underline India, because India has all religions. So atheism in India is more positive. And atheism and humanism and free thought in the Western society mostly is negative. And I also can understand this negativeness because the Christianity's hatred towards atheism is reflected in atheists being negative to Christianity.
There certainly seems to be a particular animus there between atheists and Christians in this country, because that is, as you said, the predominant religion that we have here. I'd like to go on to a different topic here. You were also talking about the Atheist World Congresses. Can you tell us a little bit about these congresses, who comes to them, what are their purposes, objectives, goals, etc.?
Yeah, there are three kinds of congresses which are very close to atheism. First is the World Atheist Congresses. The first Congress was held in Atheist Centre, Vijayawada, India in 1972. The second Congress was also held in India, Vijayawada in 1980. The third Congress was held in Helsinki, Finland in 1983. All these three congresses were held under the name of World Atheist Congresses. Then World Union of Freethinkers is there. It has been there for the last 100 years. So they also hold their congresses now and then. And recently, after the Second World War, Julian Huxley, Bertrand Russell, and all these people have started International Humanist Ethical Union. So the International Humanist Ethical Union will generally holds its congress every 4 years. So they already held 10 congresses, and I am very happy that the 11th Congress will be held in December 1995 in India. I have been associated with all these three congresses. Of course, I have been the convener for all the three world congresses held, so atheist congresses held so far. And then I have been associated with the World Union of Freethinkers Congress, when it was held in Lausanne. Then from 1978, I have been associated with the International Humanist Congresses. So to the Atheist Congress, only those people who declare themselves as atheists, they come mostly. And others also come as observers. Then to the World Union of Freethinkers conventions, it is mostly French, German, and Dutch-speaking organization. So mostly Germans, Dutch, and French people, they go there. It is a small organization. For the International Humanist Ethical Union Congresses, World Humanist Congresses, from about 30 countries, people come, those who call themselves humanists. Basically, most of the humanists are atheists. But what happened over years, because of religion's animosity to atheism, and once they call themselves an atheist, they face so much opposition, so they call themselves humanists, which is a kind of a soft word. But still, humanism is the first step towards atheism. I look at it that way. Humanism is the first step towards atheism. So most of the atheists who are in the humanist associations, they also attend the humanist congresses, and those who call themselves humanists, they are also. But one basic thing to all these congresses common is that we do not believe in any supernatural power to guide the human destinies. The human beings are responsible for their own doings, and to do good and to be good, God and religion not necessary. So without God and without religion, we can do good, we can be good. This is the basic underlying commonness between the atheists, humanists, freethinkers, and all that.
Very good. We get a lot of questions here in the United States regarding how we should raise our children as atheists. There are many people that say that, well, religion is a very important part of life. Religion is very important in human affairs, if you will. What I wanted to ask you is, do you think that atheists or freethinkers should ignore religion, or do you think that there is a special way that it should be taught?
See, we need not ignore religion. Religion is a part of history. So we can study history of all religions. At the same time, we have to teach our children the history of atheism also.
Right.
So in the historical perspective, when we teach religion as an institute, social institution, which has played some good role and which also has played some bad role. So in black and white, when we put religion to our children, children will understand in the primitive society, in the early society, religion was the social institutions, and it played some good role to bring people together. And from the tribal society, religion has played a role in making them to come to a kind of a religious society. But now it is not enough to be a religious society. Compared to the human society and the universal society, religion is more sectarian, and it is a small part of it. So we have to move away from religion. So I use the word post-religious society is coming. So to teach about the post-religious society, we can teach about the history of religion, but we have to go beyond religion and teach our children that human beings can be human, better humans, when they are away from religion and look at religion just as something history and as something past. We can have a great, grand museum for religion, but we cannot have any living role for religion in the future.
Very good. Earlier you mentioned UNESCO's involvement in some dispute about religion in the schools. Can you expand on that a little bit? What was that about?
You say that was in Finland. In Finland, some 15 years ago, Finland has Lutheranism as its official religion, state religion. So they were imposing Christian ethics on the children of the freethinkers also. It was a compulsory subject. So the freethinkers said, according to their freedom of the conscience, they do not want to allow their children to go this compulsory subject of imposing Christianity and Christian ethics on their children. Then the government did not heed to them. Then the Freethinkers Association appealed to UNESCO. Then UNESCO advised the Finland government to look into this matter, because Finland was also one of the signatories for the freedom of conscience proposed by UNESCO. So then the Finnish government has appointed the Director of Education to negotiate with the Free Thinkers Association and then to see that alternate arrangements can be made to teach morality without religion. And the Finland Free Thinkers Association, they chose me as their international advisor in negotiating with the Finland government, so I was also associated with this one. And now in Finland, they have this alternate class. Those who want to go for Christian ethics, they can go to Christian ethics. Those who say we don't want to go to Christian ethics, they can choose ethics without religion and morality, non-religious morality. And they have made very good textbooks, and their religion is also taught, but religion is taught only as a history. So they teach not only the history of Christianity, but they teach in the non-religious moral class the history of Islam, history of Hinduism, history of Judaism, history of Zoroastrianism, history of Buddhism, Jainism, and all religions. And along with that, they teach the history of atheism and humanism. So a comparative study for a child makes the child grow more freely and then more humanely. So there then the child, when she learns about the atheist heroes, how they lived their lives morally without belief in God, then the child knows to do good and to be good, God and religion not necessary. So there can be morality without God and religion.
Well, certainly there can. I don't think any of us would debate that. One of the problems that we encounter in this country is that we have a widespread perception among people that atheism is a negative force within society, that it's a philosophy that tears down but does not rebuild. I'm wondering how you would answer that. In what ways do you think that atheists can better serve their community and also, in a more broad sense, the world community?
First, I want to say those who say atheism is negative, so also the word non-violence is negative. So also the word independence is negative. So also the word fearlessness is negative. So there are many negative words in our language, but they denote a positive meaning, a positive content. So also atheism also has a positive content, that if theism, everything, in theism everything depends upon the relationship with the supernatural. So atheism does not accept the supernatural. So atheism wants relationship between humans and the nature. So the positive aspect of atheism is the positive relationship among humans as humans and between humans and the nature. So atheism, though the word look negative, it is basically positive. And I look at the whole thing is that atheists till now, because they had to fight for their survival, they could not think more about how they can serve the society. But when I feel I'm an atheist, I'm a human being. So it is my responsibility to see that all my fellow human beings are also happy. So how can I make them happy? So I have to remove poverty, I have to remove illiteracy, I have to remove ignorance, and I have to remove ill health. So to remove illiteracy, ill health, ignorance, poverty, disease, and all social evils, we have to work, and then we can create a better society for all of us to live in.
Very good. I'd like to ask you a little bit about your center in India. We mentioned earlier that it's the largest of its kind in the world. Exactly what do you do there? How many people do you have that work there?
The Atheist Centre in India, Vijayawada, is the first known atheist centre in the world, started in 1940 by my father Gora and my mother Saraswati. And then basically our family is the basis of the Atheist Centre. So religion is in the family life. So generally what is happening is in the world, atheists, humanists and rationalists, there are more individual men, but there are not many families. So Atheist Centre is trying to develop more and more atheist families where father is an atheist, mother is also an atheist, the children are also atheists. So the atheist family atmosphere develops an atheist family culture. And in the atheist family culture, atheism continues from family to family, from generation to generation. And practically in this one, we have been involved in a variety of social work programs because India is a country with a lot of superstition, with ignorance, with poverty, with illiteracy, with disease and all that. So to remove these things, Atheist Centre is involved in a variety of social work programs. But basically, we are developing more atheist families in India. These families to present the atheist culture as family culture. And I'm sure this will be observed by many people in the Western society. In the Western society, people are more individualistic. In a country like India, people are more, they are attached to the families, joint families and all that one. And more atheist families develop, the more and more atheism will be accepted. And in this one, what I have seen is women, if they change the entire family, they change their children. If only men change, they don't care even to change their wives. So if woman changes, she will try to change her husband, she will try to change her children. So in the Atheist Centre, we have a lot of programs for women. And particularly, when women are liberated, then the whole society will be liberated. So Atheist Centre in India is giving more importance to women's programs, and then remove superstition from the minds of women and liberate women from the superstitious beliefs, from the rituals, and from other things. So Atheist Centre is very much involved in variety of social work programs.
Okay. Well, the time has really flown by here. We could go on and on, but...
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some of my views with your viewers. I thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
It's been our pleasure to have you. I hate to stop now. I would like to continue this conversation at a later time. I want to thank you not only for being here, but also for all the work that you do on behalf of promoting reason and progress and understanding across the world.
Thank you very much. We are all part of that post-religious, post-stational, universal human society, which is the future of atheism.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
It's been the pleasure of Atheists United to bring this program to you. If you'd like to know more about atheism or about our organization, we have general meetings on the fourth Sunday of each month. And if you'd like to get to know some interested and interesting people, then our meetings are open to the public. If you'd like more information on this, please feel free to contact us. And the address is appearing at the bottom of your screen. The address is Atheist United, Post Office Box 5329, Sherman Oaks, California, and the zip is 91413, or else call area code 818. The number is 785-1743. On behalf of our very special guest, Lavanam, I'd like to thank you and the audience for joining us here, and we hope to see you again next time. And I'm Jon Nelson for Atheist United. Thank you very much.